it's not always possible to predict suicide, and that people who look like they lead a very privileged and perhaps happy life, and who have a lot of humor in their life and a lot going from them, incredibly talented people, can still really be affected by depression, which can lead to suicide. Suicide is a really serious issue, but this doesn't mean that you can't talk to people about suicide if they may be contemplating it. And there are certain people who are affected by suicide more so than others, particularly people who've been suffering from mental health difficulties, or if they've got a long history of drug and substance misuse, if there's a history of trauma in their life, if they've had a very significant recent stress in their life. These are a few of the factors that you can look out for. And sometimes statistics go in a certain direction. Often young males are quoted as being the most affected by suicide, but really anyone can be affected by it, but particularly if someone is suffering from depression. And that might not be something that you know about, but looking out for changes in people's appetite, or particularly if they're not very active and they're withdrawing socially or not really engaging with family and friends the way they used to, might be a sign that they're suffering from depression. And then if you believe they're suffering from depression, it might be a good time to try and talk to them about suicide. For some people, this might be a really uncomfortable topic to bring up with someone. It is very sensitive, and you don't know how the other person is going to react. The reason it's important to talk to people about suicide, though, is because when someone is experiencing suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts, and they're starting to have a plan that they may actually act on suicide, then this will be quite fluctuating, that they will constantly go from being perhaps quite serious about taking that action, and then those thoughts can change, so they can dip in and out of that. So with you actually talking to them and them having that opportunity to open up about it, it might mean that it takes them out of being very actively suicidal. So although it may be a really difficult conversation to have, and you're not even sure if this person is having serious suicidal thoughts, it is worth mentioning it. When you want to talk to someone about suicide, if they are very depressed, there's a couple of things that are good to talk to them about. So it's good to ask, have you ever had thoughts of suicide? And just asking them outright, has that been something? If it hasn't, they will just be able to say, no, that's not something I've thought about. If they have, it might be a huge relief for them, because this might be the first time someone has asked them this question, and this might have been something that's been constantly on their mind for the last couple of weeks, the last number of months. It might be something that's on their mind daily. So you might be giving them a really good opportunity for them actually to talk about it, and then you can possibly talk about ways for them to seek some help. Another good question to ask, and a less direct way to find out how suicidal someone might be, how serious they're thinking about suicide, is to ask them about the future. When you think about the future, do you look forward to it? Have you got some hopes and dreams that you're looking forward to? Does the future look like it's got some bright things held in store for you? Someone's level of hopelessness, and this is shown in research, that actually a high level of hopelessness is one of the best predictors of if someone actually might commit suicide or not. If someone is incredibly hopeless, it means they are in a very deep depression, and they may feel that the future doesn't actually have any way of getting better for them. So the questions about hopelessness and their hope for the future is good to try and tap into that. So you might ask them, what dreams do you have for the future? What goals do you have for the future? And, if they're not able to answer those questions, and they're coming across as being quite depressed about it and quite hopeless, it's different from someone who's just a bit uncertain about the future. If they're really, really bleak about it, then that could be a sign. Another really important point that I'd like to make is that if a close friend or family member or someone who confides in you someone who is in your life, if they're showing signs of being suicidal and you get a very bad idea, you get a very bad picture, and they're showing some of these warning signs that they're having very active suicidal thoughts and they are making a plan to end their life, and they may take that action very soon. If this person is not actually wanting help, you may have to, if this is someone who's close to you, someone that you care about, or someone who's confided in you, and you've got this information and you really strongly feel that they may end their life because they're making a plan and they're showing signs of maybe they're storing up the means to do it, like they're storing up some pills, or they've got access to some weapons, or there's something that is just showing some of those signs that they're actively suicidal, in that they've got a very solid plan and they're thinking about doing it very soon. You may have to take an action without their permission. Ideally, you will ask for their permission to take some action, such as calling 999 or going to A&E. Ask their permission first, but at the end of the day, if you can't get that permission from them, and in most cases people will give you the permission to help because they do want help, they're just very, very much stuck in that depression and they're very suicidal, but if you're reaching out and wanting to support them, they will let you make that call to 999, or even go with them to A&E. But as a last resort, if they are refusing that help and you're really worried about them, some of these warning signs of them being actively suicidal, actively having a plan, and they may act on it very soon. If that's the case, do not leave them alone, and it is okay for you to make that call or to intervene without their permission. And don't leave them alone, and make sure that any way that they might use, any means they might use to end their life, is out of their sight, and not easy for them to access. While you are waiting for help to arrive, such as an ambulance to arrive, don't leave them alone, stay with them. I know this is a really difficult topic and something that is really difficult to know how to handle on your own. So if it's something that you do need more guidance on, there is some more information on our website, but you can also call, particularly in the UK, call 999. You will be able to get some information about what to do next. If someone's actively suicidal, they can be linked in with the Accident and Emergency Service, and there are professionals there who will be able to help with that crisis.